Hey, look at me. I am on time. I am back home. We're gonna talk about that. I'm ready. Let's do this. Let's do it. All right. Gotta get everything ready. 15 seconds. All right. Coffee is a go. Tablet is ready. Sign is ready. Did not bring the sign. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Today is Wednesday, September 4th, 2019. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Oh. It's my first coffee I've had in a while. I've been having Americanos, aka diluted espresso, and talking to you from a car. Oh, wow. I'll tell you what, after 3 days of sleeping in a car, sleeping in your own bed is amazing. I slept so hard, I don't think I moved. Good morning, Jordan. I woke up, realized I don't think I rolled one way or the other. The bed was virtually intact. I just took the blanket, the corner of the blanket, and put it back. That was it. I didn't move. I didn't hear anything. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. Nothing. It might have been, other than the abruptness of the alarm, because I was so sound asleep that I've got one of those alarm clocks that lights up gradually. It simulates a sunrise. That didn't wake me up. Normally that'll wake me up. But there's an alarm as kind of a backstop in case you sleep past that. Very rare that I hit the alarm. And I did hit the alarm, and so I was kind of jolted out of bed, and it was so surprising. I couldn't figure out how to hit the snooze bar, so I tried, and it was a whole scene. So I just got up. So I've been up since 6, which is not really early given this show. But it's about an extra 10 minutes. I usually hit the snooze bar once, or to be honest, I probably would have hit it twice. I'm glad I didn't. I have a conflicted relationship with the snooze bar. But I'm glad to be drinking coffee and talking to all of you and sitting in a robe. My vacation was great. It was everything I needed. I was completely independent, and I was doing some math last night. Scott says, I found that an actual alarm made me very grumpy. When I woke up with it, I switched to a radio station I've never regretted. Oh, interesting. I think this thing, I don't even remember now, and that's really funny. I think this thing wakes me up with like bird noises, but maybe not. I should check. But the radio station's interesting. That's how I used to wake up. Music always started my day off better. That's what Jordan's writing in. I was talking to a friend last night and doing the math, and I think all in all, I think including gas, I might have spent 250, 300 bucks across 5 days. That includes food, fuel, the fun things that I did. That's not bad for 5 days. $30, 60. Maybe 400? I don't think it was 400. Yeah, I would be surprised if it was over 350. So 70 bucks a day. I would have spent more than that just on a hotel. I am quite fine with sleeping in the car. I am short enough. Now, if I was 6'2", that wouldn't have worked. Yeah, so I'm home. Home. Glad to be home. There's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. And that's what today is. Today, I was smart. I didn't schedule anything. I think tomorrow there isn't even really anything scheduled. Friday. So here, okay, I need someone to like run my schedule in my life because I'm not doing it right. This past weekend, I spent much of the time in Maine. The weekend before, I was in Maine. This coming weekend, there is a competition the team is at in Maine. Following weekend, I'll be back training again in Maine. It's 4 weekends in a row in Maine. Should I just move to Maine? That's where I grew up. I like my house. Can my house just be in Maine? Can someone make that happen? Can my house and all of my friends... No, here's a better way. Can all the things that are in Maine come to Vermont? That would be less work for me. Can you stop being annoying? Come here. Come here. Oh, stop. You're fine. Just sit. Sit while I talk to the people. Nope. Okay, you're just going to go over there and be loud and obnoxious. Highlights of the trips were the animals. I have some fish photos I've got to post from the aquarium yesterday. Took most of those on the phone because it's much easier to take pictures of darker things that are moving, especially behind glass, with the processing power of a phone running the camera rather than my DSLR. Anyway, but I got some great shots. It's really, really fun. Yeah. Interestingly enough, I paid more for the parking garage than I did for the admission to the aquarium. Parking garage was $40. It was nuts. So, okay. Now, that was this past weekend. Yesterday, what's today? Today is email and email and more email and dealing with more new car problems. Yay. Don't buy a 2019 Mazda 3. And then I will be just hammering through email and little things that popped up. Same with Thursday. Same Friday morning. Just trying to get going. And you know, the big thing that I think I'm working on is I think I have a lot of busy work. Scott says, trade that thing in for a Subaru WRX and be done. To be honest, I considered it. I really did. However, this car was less expensive. Theoretically checked all the boxes. Had some things that I wanted. And if you buy a used one, you know it's been beat on. So, yeah. Anyway, I think there's a lot of stuff that I do that I don't need to do. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. How do I get rid of some of these things? How do I dump some of this stuff out of my day, of my life, and make things work better? If there's an epiphany, if there's a realization that came from my vacation, which, you know, I don't know about you, but whenever I take time off work, I try to bring things back. Not physical things, but mental clarity. I think that's the big one that came back is if I'm honest, if I take a step back from where I'm at, I think a lot of what I do is busy work. And this show could be an example. You know, don't worry, the show's not going away. I'm not dropping First Cup. Because here's why. I know that if I didn't do First Cup, I would be more likely to sleep later. I know how often I would hit that snooze bar and get up at 7 or 7:15 in the morning. And I can't do that because of this show. So ultimately, I think First Cup makes me more productive. Gives me an opportunity to engage with some people. It gives us some live content for our YouTube page. It gets me thinking about things, and it helps me develop skills, right? So is the overall value of First Cup significant to my life or to whistlekick? Admittedly, no. But the value does greatly exceed the investment. There's no financial investment. I mean, I had these signs printed. That was it. Right? But are there other things where the return does not justify the investment? Probably. And so part of my plan for tomorrow is to take a closer look at that and be honest with myself. Okay. Now there are some questions. Some questions came in overnight, and I'm going to answer those. If you want to ask me a question, drop it below, and I'll answer it tomorrow. Let's fire this thing up. I brought the tablet. I had every intention of using it. Didn't use it. Nope, that's the wrong button. All right. Question 1, does your swimming help you with martial arts? If so, how? My swimming does not help me with anything. My swimming exclusively helps me with not drowning. That is the extent of my swimming. I am not a strong swimmer. I did not grow up as one of those kids in the water all the time. In fact, I think I would say I grew up afraid of the water. And I'm a lot better now. I'm a competent swimmer. I've swam over a mile before. I am strong enough athletically that I can swim as needed. And granted, that mile was very exhausting, but I could have swam longer. Hey, you with the face, stop it. Stop being fussy. Go lay down. Just stop. Just give me a really dirty look. Could swimming help you with martial arts, though? Yes. One of the things that's great about swimming is it encourages some different range of motion. Assuming you're not doing the doggy paddle, there's a lot of shoulder movement. You have to be really open with your shoulders if you're doing freestyle. If you're doing breaststroke, you still have to be fairly open with your shoulders. Otherwise, if you're just kind of pulling here, doing like T-Rex swimming, then you're not going to go very far. Swimming is primarily an arm thing, not a leg thing. And I think that there's something else to be said for staying fluid with it. Frank says it's good for his back. Jordan, the car is saying, uh-oh. If uh-oh is about the car, I didn't do anything to the car. It is a new car that might as well qualify for the Lemon Law. Unfortunately, all of the problems are on different things in the car. The rule about not buying a first model year car? Don't buy a first model year car. Even if it seems like it's so close to the previous generation that it's only a few small improvements, don't buy it. Wait. I've done it twice. First time it worked out fine. So that's where I see swimming. I think swimming is great. Hopefully you're training at a beach once in a while anyway, because nothing will teach you more about your kicks than the resistance of water. It's absolutely fantastic. If you want to know how to be a better kicker, train in some water. Low water, chest high water. You probably aren't going to train fully underwater, head kick level. But maybe you're holding your breath. Cat's doing something annoying. Anybody want to buy a cat? How about the price of free? What was the best part of vacation? The best part of vacation was knowing that I had no agenda. I've shown my calendar on this show before. I have a lot going on. I have a lot that is scheduled. My life it's not just planned, it's orchestrated. There's a lot of recurring things. Because I don't like saying no to people. I don't like disappointing them. So I will strong arm everything. Stacy says, you love Kitty. I do, but she's being very needy right now. Driving me nuts. I didn't have anywhere to be. I didn't have anything I had to do on vacation. It was what did I want to do? And there were a couple moments where I was like, oh, I'll just sit down and clean out my email. Nope, I didn't let myself do it. I just went and I did. I drove. Um, I didn't, and this was despite other than seeing if I could, and the joy of not throwing 100 to honestly over this weekend, 150, $200 a night at a hotel room to sleep in a bed for a couple hours. The other part of sleeping in the car was that I didn't have to check out at any time. I didn't have to work. I didn't have, virtually nothing I did was tied to what anybody else wanted or thought or did. And I needed that. That's not how I live my life. And I really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping to bring some of that back. We'll see. And our last question for the day. What specifically do you think martial arts schools should teach more about the psychological aspects of self-defense? Great question. We've done a couple episodes on this. I don't remember the episode numbers. But if you check out Martial Arts Radio, whistlekickmartialartsradio.com, or here on YouTube, you search self-defense, whistlekick self-defense episodes or something, you should be able to find them. I think the number one thing that is missing is the psychology, not of the attacker, but of the defender. We are in the midst of a transition of female psychology as it relates to society overall. People are less likely to go along with things. And that's going to take a long time. It's going to take multiple generations to dig us out of that. There are also some major differences in the way women will interact in society than men. There's some physiological differences in the brain. There are social constructs that are not going to fall over instantly. And so the way the majority of men teach self-defense is as if they were teaching it to a man. It is not that women are not physically capable of performing these movements. It is that they are psychologically inappropriate for those movements. Which is why when I teach self-defense, I'm teaching things that are not going to cause permanent injury or, bloody someone up, in the hopes that someone is more willing to deploy the things that I teach. I'm not an expert in self-defense. Just because I know martial arts doesn't mean I'm qualified as an expert in self-defense, but I do understand people, and I do understand things that hurt, and I understand the way the body works. And those are the angles that I think self-defense should be taught from. What could school owners do better? Probably start doing some research on human psychology. Start understanding not just the books from Rory Miller and Gershon Ben Karen and Tony Blauer, not the books about extreme violence and how to avoid or deal with those situations, but how do people work? And if you want to know how people work, observe how children work. If you have kids, start looking at the world through their eyes. Most martial arts school owners probably should be taking, some basic human psychology classes, if you care about self-defense. I'm going to say that at least 3/4 of schools teach self-defense that in a way that is useless. Just, that is based on my observations. Please don't get offended if that could be your school. Self-defense is a whole different thing. So, does that answer the question? I don't know. What specifically do you think martial arts schools should teach more about the psychological aspects of self-defense? Yeah, I go back to my original answer that it's scary, it's different, and most people can't handle deploying these violent movements when they need to. They wait until it's too late. Because here's the thing. When do you have to deploy those movements? Before you are really, really in a bad place. But before you're really, really in a bad place, there is doubt as to whether or not those movements are appropriate. That's the part people don't get. They're fast forwarding through all of the really critical stuff that leads up to the altercation. And that's where most of the effort needs to focus on. Great questions today. Thank you, everyone. If you have a question, drop it below, or maybe if you listen in audio form, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. We do the show every weekday morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, but you can catch it later at firstcupwithjeremy.com or in your podcast app. I've got some homework for you. Didn't give you homework the last couple of days. Now here's your homework. I'm not going to the obvious one. We all do things outside of martial arts. It could be something physical, swimming, hiking, horseback riding. For some of us, it's something non-physical. Photography, art, painting, sculpture, cooking. The term kung fu generally translates as mastery. Not just martial arts, but overall. In the martial arts radio episode we do Sifu Jonathan Bluestein, who's written a number of books. We spent the first 10 or 15 minutes talking about how gardening could be kung fu. How does what you do in your daily life that is not martial arts impact your martial arts? What are the things that you do so well that your martial arts is better because of them? And why? How? Find some of those things. I've talked about how my time teaching gymnastics and CrossFit has helped me understand the body and made me better at martial arts and teaching martial arts. I'm sure you have things like that in your life. Think about those. Contemplate how that's making you better. I'll see you back here tomorrow, hopefully for a shorter episode. Man, 24 minutes. Thanks for indulging me. Glad to be back. Take care. Have a good one. Peace.